Good afternoon. It's Kimball Sargent, your self-care coach. Had a few technical difficulties getting started today. This is the fourth week of our class, Live Well in a Sick World, and we are still living in this pandemic United States. Hopefully we are beginning to see things change up some. But today I want to talk with you about something that everyone can make a change in, and it is the number one indicator of whether you will live to an old age. In fact, it's more important than your heredity or anything else that you will do in your life, and that is sleep. Now, I'm going to be really honest that when I was younger, I thought that sleep was sort of a waste of time. I really wanted to see how late I could stay up and how early I could get up. I felt like that sleep really was a negative thing. However, what I have learned as the years go on is how important sleep is. And I'm not sure we're really taught about that. And it's really something that we all have control over. The National Institute of Health says that if you don't get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, that it contributes to obesity, which is a huge problem in the United States and is actually one of the leading markers for this COVID virus. Diabetes, another leading marker for getting the virus, and it impairs your glucose tolerance as well. Heart disease, another leading factor in the COVID virus. Hypertension, also another leading factor in COVID. And then anxiety, depression, and poor immune function. And as we've been talking about before, your immune function is probably the most important thing in deciding whether you get this virus or not. So sleep is really key to everything that goes on. And I'm curious, how many hours of sleep per night do you get? I'm also curious if you're getting as many hours of sleep now as you were before COVID came along and you got sort of on house arrest. Because what I find is when people have a routine, they tend to have a time that they go to bed and a time that they get up and they've got to get out of the house. But what I found in working with my clients is people are sort of taking it like a snow day. So they can stay up later, they can get up later. They've lost the routine. And that can be a really bad thing when it comes to sleep. You know, the most common false belief is the one that I started out telling you about that I had, which is sleep is not productive time. The truth is, sleep might be the most productive thing that happens in our bodies. Now, one of the things I want you to think about, when you bought your last car, did you bring it home and turn it on and just leave it running in your driveway? I know you didn't. And why wouldn't you? Well, because you'd wear your engine out. And our heart is our engine, and everything that is about our body is tied into that. So it's just extremely important. You know, sleep from a health perspective is the most productive part, as I said. Dr. William Dement is known as the father of sleep. He's a leading world expert, and what he said was, healthy sleep has been empirically proven to be the single most important determinant in predicting longevity. It's more important than your diet, it's more important than exercise, and it's more important than heredity. So that lets you know that this is the biggest thing. People want to figure out now how to stay healthy in the COVID world, but it's about staying healthy all the time. So I wanted us to talk a little bit about how it affects the immune system, because I've been talking to you about the fact that you have got to protect your immune system as well as promote its healthiest function. Well, when we are asleep, the immune system releases something called cytokines. And the cytokines increase when you're stressed. They increase when you have an infection or inflammation. Well, when you're not sleeping enough, then they decrease their productivity. So if you're one of those people now that's kind of on snow day time, you're not having to go to work, or you set up your own schedule and you stay up till midnight or 1 watching movies or playing games, and then you get up in the morning about 7 o'clock, it takes a little while to get to sleep, and you're wrestling, you're getting less than that 7 hours. And when you do that, you're impairing your immune system. And that's really the last thing that you want to be doing right now. Another big piece with the immune system is that sleep affects our T cells. And T cells are needed to kill viruses and infected cells and even cancer cells. I've talked with you before that healthy people have cancer cells in their body off and on all the time. But when the immune system is working effectively, it takes care of them. So it's really important that you are getting the sleep you need so that you get those T cells. Now, I want to talk to you a little about kids. If some of you have kids or you have grandkids, you can share this with your children. But children need even more sleep than adults, at least when they get to be teenagers. It's been a big problem for me for many years that our high school students go to school right after 7 in the morning. The good news is right now, most of those high school students aren't getting up by 7, much less going to school. But we set that schedule up so that they can go to school and then they can be out in the afternoon to take care of the younger kids. But the problem is teenagers need more sleep than anybody on the planet. They really need 9 to 10 hours a night because their bodies are growing at such a fast rate. You've heard kids say that they have growing pains, their knees hurt. Well, sometimes kids can grow as much as an inch in a single night. So their bodies need that sleep, that rest and repair, so it's able to grow the way it should. Now, our kids and our grandkids are starting to do school online. And if they're staying up playing video games till 12 or 1, and then they get up in the morning to do their schoolwork, how effective do you think that they're going to be? How well are they going to concentrate? Having a good sleep schedule is very important, and I'm going to give you some information on that in a few minutes. And at the end of my talk today, I have a free offer for you and some ways that you can get in touch with me, because I love helping people create a good sleep routine, a good, what I call sleep hygiene that they can use. And what you find out is when you improve your sleep, you improve everything about your life. For some of you that say, well, sometimes I have trouble with my short-term memory, remembering things, or sometimes I have trouble remembering people's names, a very simple thing of improving your sleep, you may notice a significant change in that. Now, I'm going to talk to you about why it's important the time you go to bed. Our bodies have rhythms that we live with. It's a circadian rhythm. And we are set up for a certain time that our body would really like for us to go to bed. And that's about 9 o'clock at night. And the reason is your body secretes a hormone called melatonin. And when you go to bed, then the melatonin levels are rising. And as the melatonin levels rise, your body is asleep, and it helps promote that sleep. In your body, everything slows down. And then in the mornings, as the sun comes up, the hormones change, and you're ready to wake up and get going. That is why when we first started this class, I talked to you about the fact that daylight savings time, the changes are so difficult for the body, because the body gets into that rhythm and it's moving along, and it uses the light to sense when to go to sleep, when to wake up. And when you have a drastic change and the clocks jump forward, or if they fall back, then it changes all of that. So that's why the idea of going to sleep at that 9 to 10 o'clock is really important. And remember, I talked to you about that being an important indicator for longevity. My dad will be 85 this year, and he is one of the most structured people about sleep that I've ever known. Most all of my life, he has gone to bed, or when I was younger, it was no later than 10. And probably for the last 20 years, it's been 9 o'clock at night. And he's in that bed 9 to 10 hours, and then he gets up and he starts his day. He's never spent a night in a hospital. So he's one of those really good examples who's someone who's used this, and obviously he's outlived both of his parents. He's outlived the age that his grandparents lived. And again, what did we talk about? What William Dement said, that sleep is a bigger determinant on longevity than your heredity. So it's a pretty important thing. And some people say to me, well, Kimball, I just can't sleep. I have trouble sleeping. Well, there are some things that you can do to improve your sleep. And so I want to talk to you about the things that I encourage people to do in order to have good sleep hygiene. First, you want the temperature in your room to be around 67 to 70 degrees. The cooler the room, the better you're going to sleep. We don't sleep well when it's too cold, and we don't sleep well when it's too hot. And you want it dark. If you happen, if you're very light sensitive, then you want shades or heavy curtains that you can pull so that the room stays dark. And the first thing you want to do in the morning is to open those up, because when the sunlight goes into your eyes, it actually tells the melatonin it's time to cut off, and you start waking up better. And you want it to be quiet. And that's why everybody in the house needs to go to bed about the same time, so that there aren't kids or people out making noise that wakes you up. You want to avoid screens at night. That's tweeting, that's being on your phone, that's being on Facebook, that's watching TV. I tell people that the bed is for two things. One is sleep and the other is sex. You don't want to work in your bedroom. We get used to things and our body gets in cycles. So when you go to bed, you want your body to know this is the place I'm supposed to sleep. And those screens, they actually mess up the secretion of the sleep hormones. So about an hour before bed, you want to stop being on those screens, and you want to lower the lighting. You want to avoid caffeine and alcohol in the evening. And if you have any problems sleeping, I would suggest that you stay away from caffeine after 2 o'clock. If you cut off by 2 and you still are having issues, then I'd say no caffeine after the morning time. So again, we want to have that routine of what time we're going to go to bed and what we're going to do with this. Now, you want exercise, but you don't want any exercise any closer than 4 to 6 hours before you go to bed, because that can actually get your body excited and help and be a problem with you slowing down. Again, I talked to you about going to bed at 9 p.m. Maybe if you do some exercise around 4 or 5, have a good supper, relax, go to bed, turn the lights down, do some reading and something that's not too exciting. These are some ways to create that routine. Now, I'll tell you something that has made the biggest difference in my sleep. I was a child that had trouble sleeping, and I had trouble sleeping most of my life, and I didn't really see the value in it. And I'd go to bed and I'd have trouble sleeping. But 14 years ago, a physician introduced me to some magnetic technologies, and I started sleeping on a magnetic reflective bed and comforter. And that puts me in this energy cocoon at night. And one of the things it does is it helps me maintain the same body temperature all night. I absolutely love it. And it helps my body at night just relax. Magnets, I don't know, for me, when I have magnets in contact with my body, I just feel better. And it has been an amazing thing for me. I sleep better than I ever have before, and I've heard a lot of people say the same thing. If you're a person who's struggling with sleep, whether it's something recent or something long-term, I would love to be able to help you create your own sleep routine. You can reach me by going to Facebook at Wellness Solutions Today and messaging me. I'd love for you to like the page. I try to put up information that is very pertinent to health. You can also go to my website, which is wellnesssolutionstoday.com. And if you'd like to have a health assessment that I offer for free, then go to www.wellnesssolutions.net. And I will be happy to get you some information. I have a complete wellness assessment that you can complete and get back to me, and I will help you with that. So I've enjoyed today. I hope that you have, and I hope that you will be able to utilize some of these things that we have talked about in order to improve your sleep, because sleep is something that will really help you in boosting your immune system, so that hopefully if you come in contact with the virus, you'll be one of the lucky people that doesn't get it. And if you do get it, that your immune system will be strong enough to help you through. Have a great day and stay well.